Okay, guys, last time we talked about the chondrichthyes, the cartilage fish, the fish that have no um, bone in them at all. They do have a skeleton. And we also talked about the jawless fish, the lampreys and um, the lampreys and the uh, hagfish. There we go. Sorry. Now we're going to talk about the bony fish. Now there are two classes of bony fish: sarcopterygi and actinopterygi. The sarcopterygi are going to be your lobe-finned fish. These are not the ones you normally think of when you think fish. They have muscular lobes that are actually with bony elements in them. The bony elements actually look a lot like the bones of yours. They're just much shorter of your arms. They actually use lungs. They're considered lungfish. So they have to breach the water to get air, and then they go back into water. There are 3 genuses of them. They live in Australia, Africa, and South America. So this is why you don't usually think about them. They're not here. One of the species is a coelacanth, or 2 of the species is a coelacanth. It is on the African and Indonesian coast, and it is pretty much one of the oldest living types of fish in our world. They are in the Tetrapodomorpha group, which is 4-foot group. Tetra is 4, poda is foot. So this is going to be extinct ancestors of all amphibians and all tetrapods. Okay, so here is a lungfish in Queensland, and this is a coelacanth here. And you can see their fins are much thicker than the fins we are thinking of, and that's because they're made of those lobes, and they actually have the bones in them, the humerus and the radius and the ulna and the carpals and metacarpals. They're just all very small there. Now, class Actinopterygi are going to be your ray fin fish. So when I say ray fin fish, these are probably the fish you're thinking about. These are going to be fish that the perch, the carp, the bass, the catfish, the goldfish, the betta fish, those are all ray finned fish. And if you look at their rays, or I'm sorry, you look at their fins, they have long kind of cartilaginous bony elements called rays in them, and then the fin fills through that. And there's no bone in there. There's just these like long, skinny things that make up the fins. They also have something called a swim bladder in them. The swim bladder is a gas pocket inside their body that they blow up when they want to rise in the water, and they shrink when they want to sink in the water. So when you see a fish just going up and down, not actually swimming, but going up and down, that's because they're controlling how much gas is in their body with their swim bladder. And when they are sinking and deflating that little balloon in there, they are going to be releasing gas, and that's going to come out in the bubbles. So when you see a fish with the bubbles, they're probably sinking because they are dropping their body and deflating that balloon. There's a few cartilaginous skeletons in Actinopterygi, the sturgeons and the paddlefish. These used to be a little more closely related to the sharks, but because of their cartilaginous skeleton, but because they have the swim bladder, that puts them closer to the Actinopterygi. Then there's the neoterygii. These are the garpikes and dogfish or bowfin. These are modern bony fish, and the modern bony fish are known as teloist. The teloist are going to be anything modern. So again, perch, shark, or perch, goldfish, betta fish, those are all teloist. So here is a paddlefish, a shovel-nosed sturgeon here. So that has a cartilaginous skeleton, and here's a paddlefish. And they fit in there in the Actinopterygi because they have the ray fin. You can see the rays, those little elements that make them kind of stick out. But they have swim bladders in them, but they do have the cartilaginous skeleton, so they are different. This is a flounder. Flounders are interesting because Little Mermaid, flounder is the little friend there, and he does not have, he has 2 eyes on either side of his head, but in real life, flounder's eyes, this one eye will migrate to the same side of their head because they lay flat to protect themselves, and so they can't see them. But so their eye actually migrates on their head to the same side of their head. It's kind of crazy. Here's some yellowtail snappers. And here is a sarcastic fringe head. See, there's its little fringe there. Those are all actinopterygii. They all have those ray fin fish. You see the rays coming off of the flounder there? Rays coming off of the yellow fin. So those are all ray fin fish. All right, so that's where I'll stop today. We'll pick up the internal structures and how they breathe and how the internal body parts work in the next video. So in this class, we talked about class Actinopterygii and how those are your teleost, your modern bony fish, and it also includes a whole section of chondrichthyes, the paddlefish and sturgeon fish. And we also talked about the lobefin fish, which includes the coelacanths, which are very old fish. All right, that's what I have. All right, bye guys.